Okay, here's an example of the of what's happening with the of stock that's in play and it changes to a weight. Let me just get MCP on here. Okay, I'm watching MCP. It went in play at the break of this candle here. Is it that candle? Oops, got the wrong one. Let's go to FSLR. I think this is the one that I wanted. FSLR went long at the break of went in play at the break of this candle here. 37.35, and as you can see it's going up. It's been in play. There's been no break of a prior low. As soon as it breaks a prior low, that's the only other reading you should have here. When a stock goes in play, the only other reading that should appear up here under the signal should be a sell when it breaks the low of a prior candle. But what's happening is there's a weight signal that jumps in when it runs out of points here. I'm just wondering if there's a way to prevent that from happening, prevent the weight signal from coming in while it's in play. Okay, I'm going to pause this. Now I lost the bar again. What the hell is it? Okay, pause it. Okay, I'm going to try the same thing here on ASML to see if that happens. As you can see, it's kind of running low on points here. It went in play at 41.44, which was the break of this candle right here, and it hasn't broken the low of a prior candle, so it's still showing in play at 41.44, which is the correct reading. Okay, shortly after that, you can see what happened. It broke the low of the prior candle, and the signal changed to a sell, which is correct. Okay, looking back at GMCR again, and it went in play at the break of that candle just before it took off, 46.53. It broke that was the first break of the last four candles. Anyway, it went in play right at the break of that candle, and it went up like a rocket ship from 46.53 to 48.50. That was a pretty nice rise. I'm just wanting to see if this one is going to, the gap target on GMCR. Okay, I'm going to go on pause. Okay, I'm looking at GMCR again. The gap target is 48.63 for the day. And there it went. There's exactly what I'm talking about. It went into a wait mode because it's losing all of its points. It dropped below 40. It goes to wait. Strangely enough, when it drops below 60, it doesn't go to caution, but when it drops below 40, it goes to a wait signal. But that's my point that I'm trying to make. Once a stock symbol goes in play like this, the only other signal that should follow it is a sell signal. Because technically, if you're already in the stock, how can you wait when you're already in it? If you're already in the stock, if it's in play, how can it become a weight when you are in it? The only option you have after you've bought it is either to hold on to it or to sell it. The weight is a signal. It means don't get into it. The price isn't right, or the points aren't right yet. Do not get into the stock. So technically, that's a correct reading. Weight. It means for new people, don't get into it because it's getting into the exhaustion stage. So, like I said earlier, if it's a problem changing that and making that, then I can live with that. See, it's jumping around. It goes back to in play again. It didn't lose the reading. It's still showing in play at 46.53, which is the correct place to be. But it's just jumping back and forth between wait and in play. Going back on pause. Okay. You can see a couple more candles formed on GMCR, and because it's right at 20 points right now, well below 40, it's probably going to be stuck on wait for a while. So it's given the wait signal, even though it's still in play from the high of that candle right there at 46.53. But because the points have changed since that time, the signal has changed as well. So we're going to put it back on pause again. Okay, it's getting close to, it could break the low of a previous candle here. As you can see, it got it got above 40 points, so it went back to an in-play reading. Now, the more I think about this, it's probably not a critical problem, even though it should continue reading in play from here. If it's a problem changing that and blocking out the wait when something is in play, this is probably not a critical problem at all. And maybe we should just ignore this. The reason I say it's not a critical problem because it's not losing the reading. Even though it's bouncing around between wait and in play, it's still keeping the reading, the true reading of in play at 46.53. Here it's just about ready to break through. We should get a do sell or a sell signal here. Well, my point is it's still showing in play at 46.53, even though it's bouncing around between in play and wait. It's still showing the correct reading from back here to get on, the break of that candle here at 46.53. So the fact that a wait is popping up, it's more like a warning signal saying, it's getting near the top of the range, or it's getting near the top. So thinking more and more about that as I'm talking along and watching this, it's probably not a bad idea even to have the wait signal pop up there like that. It's kind of like a flashing reminder. Okay, I'm still watching GMCR. I wish I had been on this instead of making this video today. One of the reasons I'm watching it is I just wanted to see, eventually it's going to break the low of a prior bar. It hasn't done that yet. And I'm just wondering if it's still showing weight here, if it breaks the low of a prior bar, whether it's going to show a sell signal or not. So I'm going to continue watching. Okay, there, it just happened. That answered my question. It broke the low at 47.84, and it did give the sell signal. Even though it was still showing weight at that point, in the background it was still going on the assumption that it was in play, even though here it was showing weight. So I'm thinking that doesn't really matter. That's not a critical problem, and I'm going to give that a little more thought rather than talking on this recording here, because I got to transfer it to YouTube. But that just sort of explains the weight problem. Over and out.